Welcome to Star Power, which is our conversation about what it takes to shine on a whole new level. The conversation about Star Power is about setting the stage for your greatest performance and then understanding what it takes to shine. Like, how do you access that vibe? How do you get to be that vibe? How do you live as that vibe? I wanted to ask a few questions to get started. And the first one is, are you ready to join me on stage? And what does that mean? So, what if I told you that you were sitting on a gold mine? How does that feel? Do you believe it? Do you understand what that means for you? What if I told you that there were people out there that were just waiting for you to speak up? What if I told you that you had access to a internal source of bigness, right? What if we talked to and spoke to the conversation about your bigness? What if I told you that there was a way to entertain everyone that enters your field with the fullest expression of your life lived as you, fully lived as you? What would that mean to you? For me, what it means is that I am showing up and showing out in a way that is beyond my comfort zone. And the truth about social media and people who are in business and people who run online businesses, I'm going to relate this back to any aspect of your lived experience here on earth. So don't worry if you are not somebody who is a coach or you are not somebody who owns an online business. It all relates. But what would it mean to you to invest in cultivating a source of energy that kind of props up everything else that you do and create in your life? I think oftentimes when it comes to creation, we know how to take certain action steps. We also know, like more or less, judging on what we see as a success in our own lives and what we see others doing as success, we have a concept of a success paradigm that could work for us. And then we see perhaps things that we are doing or not doing that could push us over the edge or give us a little edge. But underneath all of that, there's this energetic vibe that certain people have. And I believe that we're all attracted to it and that there are layers and levels of this vibe. And it is a never ending, like, pleasure, like, exciting journey to access more and more of that as we continue to grow in our energetic source. Someone said it would mean ease and flow, just being me, nothing to stress or worry about. Exactly. Here's the thing. Who is your favorite celebrity? Who's your favorite star? What do you like about them? The thing with superstar energy is that we see that they are confident, they are fully expressed as much as we see them when they are in performance, when they are on stage. We also have an understanding or a feeling that they have access to a lot of freedom. We assume because they are financially supported or financially rewarded for their courage in expression. And we also assume that they're consistently tapped into their own creativity. We, as humans, like to see all of that. And we also like to be entertained. We enjoy fantasy. And we also greatly appreciate people who can entertain us. Why is that? What do we like about that? There's a couple things that are happening when we are engaging in that are really important to understand for success in creation. The one thing that they're really good at is evoking emotion. So a performer or an actress or a celebrity or a singer or an artist, like, if we can experience something that was sourced from pure creativity and it can help us feel, It can help us feel not only where that creation came from, but where that creation lives in us. We are experiencing in that moment a spark of desire for embodiment of ourselves and our expression of ourselves in that fullest form. And we desire that. Here's the trick about getting into that state. And I'm going to talk about like the shadow side of that or the distorted side of that first. And then I'm going to explain how it serves us to understand this. The shadow side is that performers, artists, musicians, celebrities, actors, the one thing that they're really good at is emptying themselves out. They have to completely let go of their own identity in order to step into a character so fully that you are able to believe it, that I am able to believe it. And that requires a lot of work on their part. That's what they're really good at. They become the vehicle, if you will, for understanding how to connect to an entity, a version of themselves, or a version of something else, and step aside, step out of their own way and develop that character. They have a relationship with that character. They actually think, feel, and experience as that character. And so what happens as a result of that, I've observed with a lot of different celebrities and actors, is that if there isn't a strong base on the other end of that spectrum, then there is a depletion, like a churning through of that consistent practice of emptying themselves out in order to fully embody a character. And I think that's where the emptiness comes from. That's where you see a lot of people in this industry really not having an easy time in that practice consistently. But see, here's the secret, here's the trick, is that when we are doing identity work, and when we're trying to step into newer versions of ourselves all the time because we are growth focused and because our soul, as the evolutionary apex of our journey here, in combination with our human in that co creation, is that we're actually doing small versions of that all the time, anyways. We're trying to leave behind aspects of our persona or identity that are not us and step into a version of us that is more us. But if we understood how to do this with the right focus as a comprehensive understanding, then we can have access to all of that emotion, to fully owning the character, to fully setting the stage, to fully owning the performance. Because you are here to have a performance of a lifetime. You fully came here to live out and experience what that is for you. And regardless of whether or not you are in business as a mentor, or if you are in business as a consultant, or you are somebody who works a 9-to-5 job, it doesn't matter. This is the energetic makeup of what is on the other side of our ability to create and manifest the lives that we want. So that's one thing that I wanted to share with you about star power. So like, how do you own that vibe? How do you fully get into that vibe? You understand that you have the freedom to be fully expressed, that you will be rewarded financially and in your life through the courage, right? Through the courage to step into that full expression. And that you will also be fulfilled by the entertainment of your ability to feel fully immersed in life so that you don't have to seek that out in other ways, because this is what we're doing. This is really profound when you understand how it operates. The second thing I want to talk about when we're talking about star power is building your energetic field, or what I would call your energetic source, is so important when it comes to magnetism. And it's extremely difficult to understand what it is that we can do to do that, like how to turn the dial on that. I think that we try to do a lot to understand what that is, especially if we're in like a space of desiring personal growth. And we do a lot of things that are mental, right? Like we work on our mindset or we work on our mantras, goals, sticking to something and trying to achieve it. In that practice, we forget what it feels like to be in proximity to somebody who has that vibe, who has that star power vibe. If you've ever been around somebody who exudes confidence, if you've ever been around somebody who has that air of self expressed freedom, you can feel it. You can feel it, you can recognize it, and it literally emits like a field of vibration, a field of frequency. And that is what magnetism is. It attracts us because not only because we desire it, but it feels good to be around. It has that essence or that effect on you of cutting through the noise. It cuts through density because it rings a very clear bell. It rings a very clear tone. In reality, not saying that being an actor or an actress or being a celebrity is the end goal. It's just saying there is a vibe, there's a tone that comes from someone who's living their life in that way, and it's cutting through the matrix, right? It's cutting through the limited to density. And it perks the ears, it opens the eyes, it is recognizable because it is actually a thread or a field or a thread of vibration that we can all have access to. Here's the incredible thing about the time that we are in right now. We all have a stage. We were all gifted a stage through technology, through the internet, through social media. That was not the case 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It just wasn't there. So you have to understand the potential for that is literally like handing every single person who says yes to it a center stage to step up on and be a part of. Now, it doesn't mean that your center stage has to look the same as my center stage. And it's certainly true that we are not here for the same performance. And also, definitely not here for the same script. We're not telling the same story. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what that is, you have been given the same opportunity as everybody else that barely anybody else had 4 or 5 decades ago. This is why we see exponential growth in the field of money cultivation. This is why we see people making millions, billions of dollars, where I can promise you that generations before, they would not have that opportunity. That's something that excites me. To me, that is an incredible gift. If we took the conversation of money out of it and just said, what does this have to do with your legacy? Say you are somebody who is not interested, you have no need for money, you're not interested in social media. All you want to do is live the life that you want. I imagine that you desire to have that state of magnetism to attract the things that you want, regardless of what those things are. And the energy underneath that is still the same. It is the same as anybody who is here and has the courage to fully express themselves. That has an influence in our relationships. It has an influence in our careers. It has an influence in our networks, our communities with our children, etc. It is a profound state of courage for us to be able to step into that state of what I'm calling star power for ourselves. And it's really about integration and embodiment. The thing with me, and which has always been a part of my work and something that is very true about my essence, is that I believe in you. I believe in my clients. I believe in myself. I believe in everyone because I truly believe in me. And this is something that I have believed in since I was a child. I remember thinking and being young, I can create whatever I want. If I decide to fly airplanes, I could do that. If I want to become a fashion designer, I could do that. There was always this state inside of me that just didn't really question the opportunity, but did spend a lot of time questioning what was the right opportunity, which was the safe opportunity, which opportunity would bear the most fruit, I would say. I think over the years, I've understood and realized that state of questioning is the places that slow me down. It's the parts of me that take myself off the path when I don't know how to grab the right opportunity. So the star power vibe, or like the vibe of what I'm explaining to you, is really about owning that stage, developing that stage, understanding what that stage is first and foremost, before you even try to figure out what character you're playing. Owning the stage says, I've been gifted this stage. I have the opportunity to step on it. Am I going to step up? Am I going to be a part of it? And then from there, it's saying, what is in the way of me being fully expressed? Someone who's a really good actor is uninhibited. They are uninhibited in their ability to empty themselves out to play the role. If the role requires an expression that they don't know how to express, they'll explore that. If the role requires doing something that they're not comfortable with personally, being seen by others, if they've said yes to the role, if they want the role, if the role is going to elevate their career, create more opportunity for them, then they have to be uninhibited in their ability to reach whatever edge it is in them that allows them to step into that role. The uninhibited aspect is the one that I've been looking at a lot lately. There are definitely places where I am comfortable speaking up and speaking out and sharing myself, and there are a lot of places where I am not. I love watching people share really heartfelt, deep, and honest, direct conversational lives online. I get sucked into that stuff. If it's somebody who has a tone that is not stern, but really poignant, like if it's somebody who is in front of me calling bullshit and they're willing to say the things that I'm not willing to say, I fully enjoy that. That's how I know that's my edge. Because if it's entertainment to me, if I like it, if I'm consuming it, then that is a clear indicator of what in me enjoys entertaining. Then we look at what inhibits me from that. What holds me back from that? I know what the answer is for me, but everybody else has their own versions of that for them. It's the same thing in relationships with partners. It's the same thing with the way that we talk and interact with people in our workplace. It's the same thing with our art. It's the same thing with every aspect of growth in our lives. There are aspects of us that have identities or personas that we have not met yet, the characters in us that we have not met yet. And we don't know how to step into that and know that version of us knows the script, understands the story. Understanding how to continuously move into that makes your light grow. That increases your star power. Why? Because every time you take that tiny step, every time you step up onto the stage, every time you develop your character, every time you rewrite the script, every time you show up for that performance, you are setting yourself free. You're setting another version of yourself free. It's a really powerful conversation to think about. This is the place where you start to shine. What does it mean for you to go all the way? You've seen performances that actors have put on that are not all the way. Those are bad actors. Those are bad actors that we don't like to watch. The performances that we love to see are the ones that are full out, full on, because that's what evokes emotion. That's because all of the being is invested. They believe it. It's a genuine performance. They feel the character. And that character has true intentions for themselves and for you. Like I said, I truly believe that you can create the life that you want to live. Why do I believe that? Because I believe it for me. That is a full out version of the character, the entity that I play with. What would change in your life if you were expressing full out? What would it look like for you to own the stage, to own the performance, to own the character? What would change in your life if you let go of inhibition? We do not get access to all of our energy, gifts, magnetism if we're not owning all of the parts of our expression. This is an extremely potent field to explore. Once you learn it, once you understand how to show up for it, it just keeps growing. I believe that when you do this type of identity work and you understand how to connect to those parts of you, and you do it in a soul-led way, when you do it because you know what the reasons are and you do it for the right reasons, you're not just desiring this for intention, like you have a purpose connected to it. I believe that from that place, it's sustainable, like it's whole. It doesn't create a void in you that can't be filled by the things that you get from success because it's fully integrated. That's what star power is. Star power is the culmination of your fullest expression from an energetic perspective. It is the place where people can feel you. It is the dimension of you playing full out. Do you know what you can create in even 30 days if you play full out? What you can create in 30 days of going all in will literally blow your mind. What would it mean for you to invest in that? What would that change in you? How would that change your life? And I think you probably have an idea of how it would change the opportunities that come your way too, which are huge, right?